Now, let's begin with the leadership question in Nigeria and the quest by citizens of goodwill to fix the country. It's the 18th edition of the Making a Different Leadership Seminar organized by the Harvest Field International in Lagos, southwest Nigeria. At the seminar, speakers including the chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, Professor Bolaji Owasonye, and our own Babajide Kolade Otutoju called for value reorientation to take Nigeria to enviable heights. TVC News' Nelson Etta has more on the story.
It was President Muhammadu Buhari who said if we do not kill corruption, then corruption will kill us. This was the focus of the 16th edition of the seminar, organized by the training arm of Victory Life Mission International.
It's impossible, otherwise you starve.
The one-day lecture was to commemorate efforts of the Nigerian worker with the theme, Nigeria, a nation in search of redemption. Chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, Professor Bolaji Owasonye, gave assessment of where Nigeria is in the fight against corruption.
I'm saying that we're dealing with an almost impossible task. And that is not because of the lack of willingness on our part, but because of your complicity, your willingness to accept it, and much more disturbing to perpetuate it.
He also explained the strategy adopted by the Commission to prosecute corrupt public officers.
If you want to be stubborn, then I know I'm concentrating on you. But many times, once your account is blocked, you are in our detention center, we give you parameters. You are ready to go back to go and do the road. Above all, I'm asking myself, what does the community want? The road or this rascal in jail? I think the road will add more value to them, so I get him to do the road.
Registrar of the Joint Universities Preliminary Examination Board, Professor Wale Kunoga, said it will take every Nigerian to have the mindset of a leader to solve the country's problems.
See yourself as a leader. If you have leadership mentality, whatever your age is now, if you have leadership mentality puts some responsibility on you. And that will make you to be able to say, okay, I must, wherever I am, be able to ensure that things work right. And if things needed to work right, then you and I must see ourselves as people that must get involved and allow those things to work by working it.
Celebrate him, please. Let's celebrate him.
TVC News' Babajide Kolade Otutoju, in his lecture, called on Nigerians who have what it takes to lead the country to step out.
Where are those Nigerians that are enamored with unquestionable principles and integrity? Nigeria needs them more as replacements for those who merely claim integrity but never live up to standards of probity and accountability. Nigeria needs hands-on leadership that will show the way and lead from the front in building a country that is rooted on the principles of equity, justice, and love.
He also explained his passion and commitment to the struggle of redeeming and restoring Nigeria as a journalist.
I have committed to doing my best to bring about change in my country. I mean, since I have elected to remain here, then the welfare of our people, the development of our country has to be my overriding concern. So that's the reason I do what I do. I want a Nigeria that I can be proud of, a Nigerian that will be a good place for you and I to live in, a Nigeria that we can pass on to our children, including our unborn great-grandchildren. That kind of Nigeria shouldn't be a bad thing to aspire to have.
The president and founder of Harvest Field International, Abraham Akinola, spoke on the theme of this year's edition.
We call it a nation in search of redemption because we are going right down year after year. Things are so bad. And of course, we all know our problem. Our problem is corruption. The problem of this nation, whichever way you want to define it, it has its root in corruption.
The seminar ended on a singing and merry note as Babajide Kolade Otutoju taught the participants a new song.
sing Awa ni yo bori don don.
Nelson Etta, TVC News, Lagos.
Quite interesting, and I believe BK will teach us our own round of music when we are done on the program. So, looking at these reports, we've come a long way, and we still have a long way to go. Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot more to do to take Nigeria to that level where we can all hold Nigeria up as a nation that we can be proud of. The way things are going in our country, more and more people are losing hope. And all we can do as journalists is to challenge the leadership of our country to do much better than it's doing now. And there's every reason to challenge them to do much better. Journalists are not trained psychophants. Journalists are not trained bootlickers. The job of the journalist is to correct leadership, push leadership to do its best for the people. Where a journalist fails to do that and becomes immersed in the politics of the day, and he feels indebted to the leaders to not offend them, to not speak the truth, that journalist needs to go and find another job because he has betrayed his calling. So we need to have that Nigeria that we can be proud of. And that Nigeria is a Nigeria where electricity is constant. I mean, if Egypt can have more than enough electricity, my country should have at least enough. If Egypt can get to the point of exporting electricity even to Europe, there's no reason for my country to not at least be able to provide electricity for its citizens. And our country needs to be secure. The way our people are being killed, you know, it does not make any sense. Yeah. So there are so many things that need to change about how we run Nigeria, and it's our duty as journalists to let the government of the day at all levels realize that they owe the people the duty to make things better.
Right, Dare Odufokon, corruption is really a bane, of our growth, in our growth as a nation. So, with recent developments, do you think we've made substantial headway?
Well, I would say the battle is still on. Our fight against graft and corruption and the likes is unending, and it will be so. Over time, I've come to look at it that for a long time we depended on this hope that if we have the right leadership, we would get out of the woods. But I have come to realize that maybe we should place less emphasis on leadership after all. Why don't we look at the situation whereby we can become better Nigerians ourselves? I read, and I've heard this severally, that a society gets the kind of leadership it deserves. Maybe we are not good Nigerians after all. Maybe we also need to change our ways of, just like the maestro just said. If a journalist becomes an appendage of either a political party or a politician, for whatever reason, he won't be able to help that politician be a good leader. If you have the opportunity of being friends to politicians or close to them, you must, as a matter of policy and principle, and the fact that you hold this to Nigeria, use such opportunities to point the right ways to them. That politician is your friend. That political office holder is your ally, who is close to you, who you have access to, whose ears you have, must benefit from your professionalism by insisting that I will not be like every other person who come here to ask for help. Honorable sir, you have not done this well. Distinguished senator, you are on the wrong track. If you have more persons telling these leaders, as it were, that look, if you have more persons who can look at them in the face and say, irrespective of what you think you owe me or I get from you, you aren't doing it right, more of the leadership questions will be solved. If you have policemen, police sergeant, constable, who would insist that, look, I just want to get this thing right. If you have more of them in the service, even if you have a bad IG, things will soon change. So I am also appealing why we will continue to hammer on the need for good leadership.
Yeah.
That we, as a people too, should begin to look at our own contributions to this problem. The killings in the southeast, they're not being carried out by leaders. Leaders are killing us financially, industrially, and the likes. We are not killing ourselves physically, simply because somebody threw a kite of we can have a country out of a country, and you begin to kill your own brother.
Yeah. Well,
it won't obviously take us anywhere. Well, we must change our ways of even behaving as a people.
we need to race against time. BKO, before we move, Chintak, youth advocates, I mean, you actually advocate youth participation in politics, but the current realities show that politics is actually for the deep-pocketed folks.
Well, it was not designed for the deep-pocketed individuals, for people with deep pockets. It was not designed for them. Our own politics is peculiar in nature. And we have to do our best to change the narrative. We have to come up with laws that discourage the excessive use of money in our politics, in our campaigns and all that. Because, look, it's not only the rich that can bring about change. It's not only the rich that have the brilliance, you know, to make good things happen. There are some people who are not rich, but who if given the opportunity, will do a wonderful job. After all, the former president of Brazil was a cobbler.
Yeah.
He wasn't a billionaire, he was a cobbler. So why should we think that only the rich people who can play politics and can win elections and all that? No. When our elections become more credible and the ordinary man who is popular can go into a race and be convinced that he can win, then ultimately we'll have the right kind of leaders.
Right. Let's move on by looking at, these lean times, call for more understanding and rationalization.